Natural supplements and functional foods, legal developments, ingredient news, education, inspiration, entertainment, Insider in the afternoon.
Hello, my fellow insiders, and welcome back to another edition of Insider in the Afternoon, coming at you from high noon on the left coast, 1 p.m. here high in the Colorado Rockies, 3 p.m. East Coast. Welcome. If it's Wednesday, it's Insider in the Afternoon. You know, I like to think of us as, it's easy to think, it's nice to think of us as the industry, the natural products industry. Doesn't that sound all high and mighty? You know, I also like to think of us as a community. You know, we are businesses. We're all trying to save the world. We're individuals. We're friends. We are bold but kind people. You know, and so when I think of us, as friends and as a community, I can't wait till. I love when we gather here, and it's starting to percolate out there. We're going to be seeing each other live. Supply Side West or Supply Side East is going to be happening in Secaucus. The NBJ Summit in July is going to be happening in Cali, Expo East in Philly, and then we're going to get Supply Side West, the granddaddy of them all for us insiders, is going to happen in Vegas in the fall, and that's really great. I want to encourage, I know all my friends are getting a little vaccinated, so get a vaccination. It's not too hard. And if you don't want to, or even if you do, because we're natural products insiders, let's talk about vitamin D. You should all be taking some vitamin D, and D3 for a more therapeutic dose, D2 a vegan claim. It's nice, more for maintenance. That works out. And also, because we're insiders, I should tell you that you don't need to take as much vitamin D3, even though it's an inexpensive ingredient, if you also combine it with magnesium or vitamin K2. That's right, a little insider tip for you coming at you. We are here for you for education. We're here for you for information. We're here for innovation, for gesticulation. We're here for entertainment. And when I think entertainment, you know what I think of? I think of Rick Polito. Take it away, Rick. Entertain us for a moment, won't you?
Okay, 2 years ago, true story. I was at a street fest. Remember those in the time before? And I saw this hot dog stand, and on the toppings was CBD. And at the time I wondered, what's the DSHEA compliant claim for that? And I thought it would be supports wanting another hot dog, which is awfully similar to the DSHEA compliant claim for cocaine, which is supports wanting more cocaine. And then I thought, it's sort of what else could have a DSHEA claim? Like, how about Porsche's? The claim for that is supports a healthy response to genital inferiority complex. Oh. And then you got Burning Man, which is supports fooling yourself that you're not turning into your parents. Same one works for tattoos. And then I was thinking, the Xbox, the PlayStation 5, the video game consoles, every one of those should come with one that says supports staying single forever. Thank you, Todd.
Thank you very much, Rick. Rick Polito, he's the brains and the muscle behind the Nutrition Business Journal. I want to let you know that we also have Claire Morton Reynolds. She will be on our show today. We got 2 out of 3. Bill Giebler, we're going to save him for another time there. So that's pretty cool. A lot of editorial action around NBJ. We've got other ideas here on the Insider. There's one thing that I want to share with you right now, and it's something that I like to call inside my inbox. I get hundreds of emails every day, and most of them I just delete. And some of them I use for stories that I'll write about. Some of them are kind of in that gray area where like, that's interesting. I'm not really going to write about it, but I feel like it's a really good idea to share with you. Here's something that came in. This is just all in one day. It just happened a little while ago. The GoEd people, they send me this email, and here it is. This is about sustainability. And so they're talking about sustainability in terms of wild versus farm seafood. I know I'm never going to eat farmed salmon. It's probably got more mercury and less, omega-3s, but for supplements, the Peruvian anchovies, they got that really well managed. And then the very same day, Health Focus comes and they're talking sustainability. Sustainability, it's in the brain, it's happening right here. And you go to this they click on this link and check it out. So the young people here they're more concerned about sustainability than the old people, because they got longer to live. But then also you see over here the war on plastics. Man, when I think plastics, there's a lot of concern about supplements bottles being plastic. But Rainbow Light, they started it, and Natural Vitality and NeoCell, they all got grouped together and they got sold out to Clorox. But 100% post-consumer content of plastic. So you don't want to cut down virgin plastic trees. Let's all be more sustainable about our plastic use in our bottles. We're supposed to be like that. And then, the last thing, just really quickly, this NBJ analyst take. Claire is with us today, and so she's going to talk about the active lifestyle market. So I'm really not going to get into it right now. And so now we got Steve O. Myers. He's going to take us inside Insider. We have so much insideness going on here at Insider in the Afternoon. Take it away, Steve O.
Hey, thanks, Todd. This is the first Inside Insider, and in today's segment, we're going to look at our digital magazines, which form the foundation of our content. These magazines are thematic, and they tend to focus on an area of health like digestion, or a specific ingredient like probiotics. Each issue offers a range of content, including ingredient science and any combination of topics such as formulation insights, new product trends, market research, consumer data, legal and regulatory updates, and an editorial viewpoint, which offers a peek at the issue and sometimes bits of analysis on the segment being covered. Speaking of analysis, new this year is our partnership with ClearCut Analytics, a retail analytics and e-commerce services provider that offers insider readers data and insights on Amazon sales trends for categories of nutrition products, mostly dietary supplements, that relate to the theme of each issue. We post roughly one magazine per month. However, we post 2 issues in certain months like this past April, which is not special in this case because of the mother lode of chocolate eggs and Easter egg hunts and jelly beans, or the fact that many of us here in the States finally got our COVID vaccinations underway. In early April, we posted our Sports Nutrition magazine, Expanding Demographics in Sports Nutrition. This looks at ingredient innovation, legacy versus lifestyle brands, what the sports nutrition market may look like post-COVID, and many other timely topics. Closing out the month, we posted our cognitive health issue. This is full of science on ingredients that improve cognitive function and are backed by published research, of course. It also has a look at special brain-boosting botanicals, the latest scoop on natural versus pharma nootropics, what recent product launches can tell us about formulation trends, and what cognitive and nootropic products are selling well over on Amazon.com. To find the digital magazines, you head over to Natural Products Insider, where I promise you our ads are not based on what you've said within earshot of Siri, Alexa, or, well, any Google device. You mouse over media assets and you select digital magazines from the drop-down menu. When you click on the magazine that you want, you'll find a landing page with a little sneak peek or teaser at the issue and a list of our underwriters. Thank you very much. You click on the download button to get the PDF of the issue. You might have to sign in or register, but it's all free. As you can see, we have an index of the pages and our beautiful cover. When you look at our TOC, you can notice that we have a mix of editorial content from the editors on the team and expert freelancers like Lisa Schofield, here writing about legacy versus lifestyle sports nutrition. She has a long experience in our industry. So does Pete Croatto, who just happens to be the recently published author of the Simon & Schuster book, Hang Time to Prime Time, Business Entertainment and the Birth of the Modern NBA.
1 minute.
Hit Pete up on Twitter to find out how you can get a signed copy. We also bring you industry experts. You see the famous sports nutrition attorney, Rick Collins, and the co-founder of Banned Substances Control Group, Oliver Catlin. They co-authored an article on legal considerations when you're developing innovative ingredients. There are always boundaries in sports, right? And here you see our partnership from ClearCut Analytics, where they dive deep into protein powders over at Amazon.com. Always a big topic, right? Dr. Sue Hewlings, big in sports nutrition, talks about opportunities with the Gen X population. I'm Gen X, and I love the movie references. We also have Euromonitor looking at post-COVID sports nutrition and some insights on cannabis and sports from the attorneys at Hoban Law. That's our digital magazines in a nutshell. Keep an eye out for our next issue, which will dive deep into the popular yet controversial ingredient CBD. We'll have the latest ingredient science, market consumer trends, and of course, an update on the legal and regulatory hurdles that are challenging this segment. I can tell you that The Viewpoint will also be authored by your favorite Insider in the Afternoon host, Todd. You know a thing or two about CBD, right, Todd?
Oh my God, Steve. I do know a little thing about CBD. I get it all the time. And I don't take it that much, but because it's all good in the hood up here. Cool. Steve, thanks for that. I really appreciated you helping walk people through the Insider site and into the digital magazines. I think it's really helpful. Everyone could use a helping hand here. And speaking of helping hands, I want to turn it over to the Biz Buzz right now with Claire Morton Reynolds, the NBJ, the data analyst of the outfit here. And Claire, why don't you just thrill and amaze us with what's happening in NBJ land right now?
Thank you so much, Todd. Real quick, since Todd did mention our newsletter, for those of you who are not subscribed, if you head to nutritionbusinessjournal.com and you hit the newsletter tab, you can actually get signed up. And what that means is you get my take on the industry or one of our editors' take on the industry every other week. And so it's a great little highlight of what's in our reports, little tidbits of data, and kind of the best way to stay on top of what NBJ is thinking about each week. Or every other week. And I also am going to take this opportunity, since I'm talking about the active lifestyle market, to let you know all the data and juicy insights that I'm talking about today are available right now in our new active lifestyle report, which was just released last week. And that can also be found on nutritionbusinessjournal.com. And now, after that quick sales pitch, I will get into the nitty gritty of what's going on in that market. So what's really interesting is that NBJ this year has kind of shifted with the market from what was formerly we were calling the sports nutrition and weight management industry to now the active lifestyle industry. And so what we did is really shed kind of that weight management into more of our condition specific coverage. And now we're really focusing in on what used to be these core hardcore sports nutrition categories and are really now more of these active lifestyle categories. 2020 represented a really notable shift in a lot of areas of the industry, but active lifestyle and sports nutrition is interesting because that's an area that has been shifting for over a decade. Sports nutrition supplements, hydration and energy beverages, ready to drink protein beverages, nutrition bars. These are the products we track in this industry and in this market. And they used to target hardcore athletes, outdoor enthusiasts, gym buffs. And now we're really seeing these supporting just an everyday consumer active lifestyle. And so we're really excited to kind of rebrand and shift into what we're now calling the active lifestyle industry. And so to give you some data on kind of that new definition of the industry, we are seeing that the industry is now $40.5 billion in annual sales in 2020. And that's, what has led to that great of a market size has been adding over $10 billion since 2015 because of this shift to active lifestyle, right? So because these products are shifting from kind of that hardcore gym population to more of an everyday population has led to massive growth across these products. And we're anticipating another 10 billion added by 2024. And, early in the pandemic, there were a lot of concerns that this part of the supplement industry and this part of the functional food industry would be kind of hard hit because it's not centered around general wellness or immunity. But we are not really seeing that, stay-at-home issues, stay-at-home orders, gym closures didn't really halt the market in the way that was expected. Consumers are really finding new ways to be active kind of with this new lifestyle that we're in. And, this year and into 2022, we're expecting some return to normalcy and really driving continued growth across these categories. Interestingly, the only category that did not find growth in 2020 was nutrition bars and gels, and they're kind of dragging the whole market down. In fact, the category of nutrition bars dropped 8.1% last year, which is super notable. It's the first year of decline, coming off of, even double-digit growth earlier this decade. And, part of that is just a maturing market, kind of a lot of entrance into that market, but also a lack of need for convenience foods in 2020. And so that's a pretty notable one, but we also saw significant growth still and interest in hydration and energy across new product formats as well. So strong growth in classic products like Gatorade, but really strong interest in products like Liquid IV, which was acquired by Unilever last year. And so it's a really interesting market to watch, and interesting in a different way than some of the other things we were focused on in 2020, like immunity and multivitamins, right? And so we're really interested to see kind of where this market is going to go in 2021 and beyond. And with that, I want to say thank you and wrap it up.
Thanks, Claire. I really appreciate that. That's like really actionable insights, I think, for the industry, just in terms of product formats. Like it does seem to me that, okay, bars dropped because people didn't really need things on the go in 2020 because no one's going anywhere, right? But, so maybe that'll pick up. Maybe that's just like a temporary blip. So really fascinating insights from Claire. Really appreciate that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to jump into the Toddcast. Where we're going to have a nice little conversation with myself and Asa Waldstein. Now, Asa is with the Supplement Advisory Group, and he and I have really connected over the last couple years. Just he puts on a lot of events in the Boulder area, which is really strong in hemp, CBD, and really all things cannabis. Just from a regulatory compliant area, when I think hemp, CBD. CBD, the certified business of disruption. I mean, that was really happening. Nature's most nearly perfect plant, right? But there's so many people who jumped in the business. And as it turns out, a lot of these people, they don't really know how to run a business, let alone build an industry. And so they need all the help they can get. And Ace is just the kind of guy to help us on that path. One of the cool things I see, I just pick up random CBD containers. They all have QR codes, like from Charlotte's Web on down, they have QR codes, and you just scan your phone on it and it takes you to lab results. And I think that's something that all supplement companies should be doing. So again, hemp is leading the way, is really the tip of the spear in the evolution of a lot of part, really of the supplements industry and also the agriculture industry, because as soon as we put a price on carbon, watch hemp take off, because hemp can really be a big player in that. That's the way that it can really make inroads against the big ag of cotton and corn and all that fun GMO soy. So with any further ado, Asa, come on down, join us on this call right now. First of all, just Asa, how you doing, man?
I'm great. Thank you so much for inviting me on the Toddcast. I'm excited to be here. And what a great time to talk about compliance, regulatory, and all the fun stuff happening in the hemp cannabinoid world.
That's right. So, let's just start with HR 841. That's the Hemp and Hemp-Derived CBD Consumer Protection and Market Stabilization Act. Whew, that's a mouthful. What can companies do now to prepare in the event that hopefully, knock wood, it'll pass?
Yeah, I love that. So HR 841, a bill in Congress, and basically what this does, just real quick, is gives a legal pathway for selling hemp cannabinoids in dietary supplements. So it would allow people to sell their hemp cannabinoids in the structure that we have for dietary supplements right now. So one, what can companies be doing now? They can think about proving their safety through something like a new dietary ingredient notification or self-affirmed GRAS. And this HR 841, it also requires companies to do it all. Hemp cannabinoid companies to do it all supplement companies are doing, which is making sure that they're manufacturing under GMP principles for CFR 111 and also marketing principles as well too.
Yeah, and so this is on the federal level. Absent federal action, either from legislation or regulation, states have jumped in, right? And there's all kinds of things happening. Even just like this week, what was it, like Florida outlawed Delta 8 THC. There's a lot of things happening there. Product registration. just quickly walk us through some of the little potholes that could happen to companies when they're dealing on the state level.
Yeah, it's really difficult. So each state kind of has their own twist on other states' regulations. So for example, in Utah, it costs $325 per product to register your product in Utah for 1 year. That's a big revenue driver. Other companies like our states rather, such as West Virginia, have got on board and saying, yeah, we're going to charge $200 per product, but we're going to take a little twist on what we think the federal regulations are, and we're going to make this our own regulation. So each state has their own little oddity and obtuse regulation interpretation in some ways from the next state. So complying with all states is just really difficult for a hemp CBD company right now.
Right. And so now let's jump back to the not federal legislation and not state legislation, but federal regulation. And so really the big player here that kind of freaks people out is the FDA. And the FDA, it's so curious to me. Like on the one hand, they're not regulating at all. Like if they would just come out with a pronouncement saying, yeah, it's a legit thing, go to town. But then on the other hand, they are issuing occasional warning letters, right? So, how do you navigate that?
Well, in absence of clear FDA regulation, it doesn't mean that everyone should go home and just go to sleep. We have to comply with some type of regulation. So in the form of ingestible hemp cannabinoid products, there's dietary supplement regulations, which have been around forever. DSHEA just had its 25th, 26th anniversary. So in lieu of clear federal guidance, ingestible hemp CBD companies should follow dietary supplement regulations.
Yeah, right. And so let's dig into that, because there's like manufacturing side things, like on the back end, and then there's, market facing sides, on the consumer on the front end of the shelves. So can you like differentiate both of those avenues and kind of talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a really exciting time in the hemp industry. So we're kind of at an inflection point where companies are saying, well, we don't have clear federal guidance. And yeah, people like ASA and lots of others are saying we should follow dietary supplement regulations. So we're actually at this beautiful time where companies, they have an opportunity now to really get their ducks in order before clear federal FDA guidance. So on the manufacturing side, as you mentioned, some very, very common things that hemp CBD companies are doing now, which is getting the product specification and raw material specifications in order, making sure they have recall plans in order. Really, all that means is knowing where each individual lot or product is going. So in case you have to do a recall, you can pull it back. And then we have labels. Now is really the time for companies to get their act in line with labels. In my company, I reviewed lots and lots of labels. And so a lot of them don't really even have the basics of the dietary supplement or hemp cannabinoid supplement regulations or requirements in line. So what I mean by this is they might not have a domestic street address or phone number, which is required for adverse event reporting. Then we have the whole marketing side. Companies right now is the time to get their act together. We're all aware, Todd, that companies should not put the word anxiety on the label. In case you don't know that, don't put anxiety on your label. But
you can put occasional anxiety, right? That's the loophole right there. Occasional anxiety.
Anxiety is a buzzword. It's considered a claim. Anything a drug is indicated for example, Xanax is indicated for anxiety. Anxiety would be the claim. I wouldn't ever put occasional anxiety on my label at all. But what a lot of companies are just waking up to realize is that everything is considered an extension of your label or your advertising in the eyes of the FDA and FTC. So you might not put anxiety on your label or occasional anxiety. I'm not advocating for that either. But companies might use that in their hashtags or their meta tags or their product reviews, testimonials, videos, that kind of thing. And these are all considered extensions of a label or marketing. So companies are really waking up to see that anything they're using to sell their product is fair game and a fair target for the FDA or FTC.
Yeah, that's really an interesting point. Charlotte's Web, the number one company out there, the ultimate pioneer, they have the website Realm of Caring that like doesn't have anything to like, they're not selling products on that. And then on the Realm of Caring site, someone, a user put in a testimonial that made, what amounted to a drug disease claim. And the FDA was like, a testimonial on an adjacent website counts as your website, counts as your label, counts as that claim. So that person making that comment on that, what you thought was a laundered site, nope, they traced it back to you and you got hit. Whoa, right?
Yeah, education is okay. Education with material gain or commerce, you have to be careful. So people are allowed to say whatever they want. And if a Charlotte's Web or any other company posted that review or that testimonial on any kind of site that links back to their shop, if that's a key, then that's something that you definitely need to be very, very careful with.
Right. And so then I guess you could, if you have the brand and some person makes a testimonial claim, you would want to like look at that really closely and say, all right, is that legit or not? And if it's not, maybe go back to the person who made that comment and say, hey, can you just tweak that a little? Like you could do that, which would be maybe more helpful than just going delete,
Absolutely. Right? Testimonials, product reviews are really helpful in marketing. And I like to just say the side comment that if we can't get a marketing message across in a way that's effective and also compliant, we're not able to get these health-giving products to our customers. So with product reviews, testimonials, what I always recommend is asking the customer to revise their review and remove the buzzwords. So a good example might be with anxiety. Someone may say, this wonderful Todd CBD worked great for me. It really helped my anxiety. Well, you could go back to the customer and say, well, if it's truthful and not misleading and you're being ethical and keeping the integrity of the claim, can you change the word anxiety to happy mood support? Or I felt resilient in the morning. So kind of removing those buzzwords and replacing them with low risk verbiage that also gets that marketing message across is really important if you have permission.
Yeah. I love that. That's really great advice right there. Because then let's talk about the flip side of if you don't do that, then you get slapped with a warning letter. And so why don't you just tell people like just how serious that is and how fast they got to like hop to in order to address that?
Yeah, that is a wonderful question. And a client asked me that the other day. They said, so what's the big deal with getting a warning letter? Well, one, it's public record. It's there memorialized in the FDA or FTC records, or sometimes both, forever and ever. It's a big smudge on your name and your company's name. It does not go away forever. It also takes legal resources to respond to. You have to hire expert attorneys, or you should. You have to do that within a very short amount of time, 15 days, or if it's COVID claim, 48 hours you have to respond. But one of the things that most people don't realize why they want to avoid a warning letter is because it scares away investors. So in this day, in hemp CBD world, oh my God, there's so much mergers and acquisitions happening. So the quickest way to scare away your investors or your partners is to get a warning letter. Oh, and there's one other thing. Guess what? Warning letters are public record. So a lot of the plaintiff's attorney, the class action attorneys, use warning letters as a basis for wrongdoing for their class action lawsuits, which can really be painful.
Yeah, right. So that sounds like, man, a warning letters can really just affect you 6 ways from Sunday. So you really want to just, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? I mean, that's really what that's all about. So, I mean, the FDA, they haven't issued warning letters in a couple of years, it seems like, like they've just kind of been in this holding pattern, maybe for the last 2 years since they had that infamous big, public hearing. I think it was 2 years ago. Crickets chirping since then. But, Scott Gottlieb at the time, he said, well, it might take us, like 3 to 5 years to come up with a rule. And everyone was like, you got to be kidding me. It can't be that long. Well, we're only 1 year away from 3 years now. So, maybe that is what it's going to take. He knew what the process was going to be like. And people, I know people don't like, the FDA not coming out and saying, okay, great, it's legit. But, as long as it happens, I think people will be happy, but it depends on what they say, and another thing to prepare for is probably NDIs, new dietary ingredient filing. which is super expensive. And, you know, like that's going to put a lot of companies out of business, but that could be a reality too. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think mature companies that want to plan for the safety are not only getting their manufacturing and marketing ducks in a row, but they're also planning for safety. So what if HRA 41 passes? It's going to require safety, and with companies to prove it in the form of a new dietary ingredient notification, for example. And so investing in product safety now, if you can afford it, is really a smart way to plan for the future.
That's cool. Planning for the future. Love it. Asa Wallstein, Supplement Advisory Group. Thanks for joining us today on Insider in the Afternoon. And, you know, I think that's all we have time for today, but I want to thank everyone for joining us. Tell your friends, tune in on Wednesdays, make it through the afternoon on Hump Day. And I'm Todd Runstead with Natural Products Insider, the supply side crowd. See you next Wednesday on Insider in the Afternoon.
Sustainable